My people, have you ever seen a tiger eat grass? Or a shark beg a tilapia for water? If you have not seen it, come closer, let me show you this picture. Look at it though, well. On a rainy Tuesday, the kind of rain that beats the roof like an angry landlord, in the middle of the mud, a woman was rolling on the ground wearing a dress that cost more than your yearly rent, Madam Beatrice. Her wig, which was usually sitting on her head like a crown of glory, was now soaked in gutter water. She was crying, stretching her hand out, begging. And who was she begging? A woman sitting on a plastic keg, eating roasted corn with peace of mind. Her name is Cynthia. She looks poor, yes. Her wrapper is faded. Her slippers have seen better days. But her face, it is smooth. It is calm. She was looking at Madam Beatrice the way you look at a mosquito that is buzzing behind glass. Behind them, the biggest, finest restaurant in Lagos, the Golden Platter, was wrapped in yellow tape, sealed by Lagos State government, one that shall never end. How did the owner of the biggest restaurant end up begging a former cook for corn? How did the bottom become the top? My people, pull a chair, because before honey becomes sweet, the bee must walk. And before Cynthia could sit in peace eating that corn, she saw hell. She saw the kind of hell that makes a grown woman question her creator. Hey, sorry to interrupt your listening for just a moment. If this story is speaking to you so far, I'll be really grateful if you subscribe and support the channel. It helps me keep creating more stories like this for you. Thank you. Let me take you back to where the madness started. It started inside the kitchen of the Golden Platter. If you see this kitchen, stainless steel everywhere. It shines brighter than a new bright teeth. But inside the fridge, there was death. Cynthia was the head chef. She was a widow, a mother to a 6-month-old baby named Miracle. She didn't have money, but she had hands that could turn water into wine. When Cynthia cooked, even the aroma would make you hungry. She took her job as a ministry. She believed that when you feed people, you are feeding their souls. But Madam Beatrice, Beatrice believed that people were just wallets with legs. That afternoon, a delivery truck arrived. The driver, a rough-looking man, dropped 3 cartons of beef. As soon as the cartons were opened, a smell hit the kitchen. It was not the smell of fresh meat. It was the smell of a grave. The meat was grey, and in some places, it was turning the color of a bruised avocado, green. Cynthia covered her nose. "Madam," she called out, her voice trembling. "We cannot use this. This meat has expired. It is rotten." Madam Beatrice walked in. She was clicking her heels, point, point, point. She was wearing enough gold to sink a canoe. She looked at the meat. Then she looked at Cynthia. "Rotten?" Beatrice laughed, a dry, wicked sound. "You villagers don't know anything. It is aged beef. It is expensive." "Madam, this is not aged," Cynthia pleaded, pointing at a slimy patch. "This is poison. If we serve this, people will purge. Pregnant women will fall sick. I cannot cook this." Beatrice's face changed. The smile vanished like light doing NEPA failure. "You cannot do what? Are you the owner of this establishment? Do you know how much fuel costs? Do you know how much I pay for rent? I bought this meat cheap to maximize profit. And you want to preach to me? I cannot poison customers, madam. My conscience." "To hell with your conscience," Beatrice screamed. She grabbed a heavy bag of spices, Maggi, curry, thyme, plenty of pepper. "Wash it with bleach. Vinegar will kill the smell. Spice it until their tongues are on fire. They won't know the difference." "No, ma, I won't do it." Cynthia stood her ground, though her knees were shaking. She thought of her baby at home. She needed this job, but she feared God more. Beatrice stared at her. The kitchen went silent. The other staff, the cleaners, the assistant chefs, looked down, afraid to breathe. Even a dirty-looking delivery man who was waiting in the corner for an order stopped to watch. Beatrice walked up to the counter. She picked up a raw, slimy, grey stick. The blood and water dripped onto the floor. The sound echoed off the stainless steel walls. Beatrice slapped Cynthia across the face with the raw meat. The cold, slimy flesh hit her cheek with a wet smack. Blood and rot smeared on her face. Cynthia gasped, stumbling back, holding her cheek. The humiliation burned hotter than the spices. "You common pauper! You living corpse! You refuse me? Do you think you have standards? Look at your shoes. You are wearing bathroom slippers to work and you are talking about standards?" Cynthia wiped the slime from her face, tears welling up. "Madam, God is watching." "Let him watch," Beatrice roared. "You are fired. Get out of my restaurant and don't think you will get your salary for this month. That is payment for the meat you just wasted with your stubbornness." You would think getting fired was enough, Abi? No, wickedness does not sleep. Cynthia packed a few things and left. But before she could even reach the bus stop, a police van screeched in front of her. 2 officers jumped out, guns cocked, as if they were chasing an armed robber. "That is her! That is the thief!" Cynthia turned around to see Madame Beatrice standing at the restaurant door, pointing a manicured finger at her. "Officer, arrest her! She stole 500,000 naira from the safe before she left." "Jesus!" Cynthia shouted, clutching her chest. "Madam, me, still, I have never taken a pin." "Shut up, criminal!" The officer slapped her, this time with a heavy hand. They dragged her into the van. At the police station, they didn't even write a statement. They threw Cynthia behind the counter on the cold, rough floor. She had picked up her baby from the neighbor on the way, so now she sat on the dirty floor of the cell, rocking little Miracle, who was crying from hunger. Madame Beatrice walked in an hour later. She didn't come to show mercy. She came to gloat. She stood over Cynthia, who was breastfeeding her baby in the corner, trying to hide her body from the leering officers. "I told you," Beatrice whispered, leaning down so only Cynthia could hear. "I told you to cook the meat. You wanted to be holy. Now look at you, holy and homeless." Cynthia looked up, her eyes red. "Madam, tell them the truth. I didn't steal. My baby is hungry." Beatrice laughed and turned to the DPO, Divisional Police Officer. "Officer, keep her here for the weekend. Let her learn that in Lagos, truth is what the rich say it is." The DPO laughed, counting the crisp notes Beatrice had slipped into his pocket. "Don't worry, madam. We will teach her a lesson. By Monday, she will confess that she stole the moon." For 2 days, Cynthia sat on that cold floor. The smell of urine and sweat was thick. Mosquitoes feasted on her baby's tender skin. She had no diaper, no food, only the water from a sachet the cleaning lady sneaked to her. She watched cockroaches dance on the wall and wondered if God had forgotten her address. When they finally released her on Monday, because they had no proof and Beatrice had grown bored, Cynthia was broken. But she was a woman of faith. She thought, let me go to church. Let me go to the house of God. Surely there is comfort there. It was a midweek service. The church was packed. The air conditioner was blowing cold air, smelling of lavender. Cynthia sat at the very back, wearing her only clean dress, clutching her Bible. She just wanted to pray. She just wanted to cry where nobody would ask her questions. The pastor climbed the altar. "Brethren, before the sermon, we have a powerful testimony. A daughter of Zion has overcome the enemies of her business. Put your hands together for Deaconess Beatrice." Cynthia's heart stopped. Beatrice walked up the stage. She was wearing white from head to toe, looking like an angel of light. She held the microphone and tears, fake crocodile tears, rolled down her cheeks. "Praise the Lord," Beatrice shouted. "Hallelujah," the crowd roared. "My people, the devil is wicked," Beatrice said, shaking her head. "I opened my restaurant, the Golden Platter, to feed God's children. But the devil sent an agent of darkness into my kitchen, a witch disguised as a cook. The crowd gasped. God forbid. Yes, she tried to poison the food. She tried to destroy the business God gave me. She even stole money from the orphanage. Beatrice pointed towards the back of the church, though she couldn't see Cynthia specifically. But the God of Elijah exposed her. The police caught her. The fire of the Holy Ghost consumed her plot. Fire! The congregation shouted. Cynthia shrank into her seat. She felt small. She felt dirty. The woman who had slapped her with raw meat and locked her up was now standing on the altar, being cheered as a saint. Suddenly, an usher tapped Cynthia on the shoulder. The usher was a tall man with a stern face. The crowd gasped. God forbid. Yes, she tried to poison the food. She tried to destroy the business God gave me. She even stole money meant for the orphanage. Beatrice pointed towards the back of the church, though she couldn't see Cynthia specifically. But the God of Elijah exposed her. The police caught her. The fire of the Holy Ghost consumed her plot. Fire! The congregation shouted. Cynthia shrank into her seat. She felt small. She felt dirty. The woman who had slapped her with raw meat and locked her up was now standing on the altar, being cheered as a saint. Suddenly, an usher tapped Cynthia on the shoulder. The usher was a tall man with a stern face. He looked at Cynthia's worn-out sandals and her tired face. He looked at the baby who was starting to whimper. Sister, the usher whispered harshly, please, can you go outside? You are disturbing the service, and frankly, you look suspicious. We have had complaints about people coming here to steal phones. But I am a member, Cynthia whispered, tears streaming down her. Please, outside, the usher insisted, pulling her arm. Don't make a scene. Respect the house of God. Walk of shame. That is what it was. Cynthia walked down the long aisle while carrying her baby, and the congregation clapped for Beatrice's victory. Beatrice stood on the stage, basking in the applause, her eyes shining with triumph. She didn't see Cynthia leave. She was too busy acting like God's favorite daughter. Cynthia needed money. She needed food. Pride does not feed a child. She heard that a new hotel in Ikeja was hiring a head chef. She used her last 500 naira to take a bus. She washed her face, straightened her dress, and told herself, I am a good cook. My talent will speak for me. She walked into the manager's office. The interview was going well. The manager, a kind-looking man, was impressed by her knowledge of spices and continental dishes. You seem perfect, Cynthia. When can you start? His phone pinged, a notification, then another, then another. He frowned and opened his phone. He opened Instagram. His eyes went wide. He looked at the phone, then looked at Cynthia. He looked at the phone again. The kindness in his face turned to ice. Is your surname OKK? He asked, his voice cold. Yes, sir, Cynthia replied, confused. He turned the phone screen towards her. It was a post on Instablog Naija, the biggest gossip blog in the country. There was a picture of Cynthia, a terrible picture taken secretly at the police station where she looked haggard and crazy. The caption read in bold, angry letters, Wanted, the poisonous cook. Public alert. This woman, Cynthia Okeke, was caught trying to poison customers at a top Lekki restaurant with rotten meat. She also stole 500k. She is dangerous and mentally unstable. Employers beware. She is an enemy of progress. Hashtag Lagos News. Hashtag Poison Cook. Hashtag Wickedness. It had 10,000 likes. The comments were brutal. Look at her face. You can see witchcraft. May she never find work. Jail her. Cynthia felt the ground spin. Beatrice. She had paid a blogger. She had branded Cynthia's forehead with a mark of shame that the whole world could see. "Get out," the manager said, standing up. "Sir, it's a lie. She is lying," Cynthia cried, reaching for his desk. "I said get out," the manager shouted. "Do you want to kill my customers? Security!" Cynthia was thrown out of the hotel, literally. The security guard pushed her out the gate. She landed on the hard concrete. The sky, which had been heavy all day, finally broke open. The rain came down. It didn't sprinkle, it poured. It was a wicked Lagos rain, cold and biting. Cynthia sat on the curb. She didn't run for cover. What was the point? She was already drowning. Passers-by ran past her, holding umbrellas, jumping over puddles. A car sped by, a black SUV, and splashed dirty gutter water all over her and the baby. The baby screamed. Cynthia looked at Little Miracle. The baby was wet, cold, and shaking. Cynthia had no milk left in her breast. She had no money. She had no home to go back to because the landlord had called that morning to say her things were outside. She had no name because Beatrice had destroyed it. She was alone. And the noise of Lagos, the honking cars, the shouting conductors, the rain faded into a dull buzz. Cynthia looked at the muddy water swirling around her feet. She looked at the giant billboard across the street. It was an advert for the golden platter. It showed Madame Beatrice smiling, holding a plate of food, looking like the queen of the world. Cynthia began to laugh. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the laugh of a woman who has seen the end of the road.
She pulled her baby close to her chest, shivering in the rain. She closed her eyes, tilting her head to the weeping sky. "God!" she screamed, her voice cracked, lost in the thunder. "God, are you there? Or have you also joined them? You said you are the husband of the widow. You said you are the father of the fatherless. Look at me. They have taken my job. They have taken my name. They have taken my dignity. Will you let them take my life too?" She waited for an answer. Only thunder rumbled. "If you are alive," she whispered, her head bowing in defeat, "show yourself, because I am finished." She sat there, a heap of wet rags and broken dreams, while the city of Lagos moved on, unbothered, cruel and blind. But as the old people say, it is when the night is darkest that the morning star is polishing its shoes. Have you heard the saying? When a king wants to catch a monkey, he acts like a banana. Cynthia was still sitting in the gutter, the rain washing away her tears but not her pain. Her baby, Miracle, had cried himself to sleep against her cold chest. Cynthia was done. She had closed her eyes, waiting for the ground to open and swallow her. But the ground did not open. Instead, a car engine sputtered next to her. It was not a flashy jeep. It was not a police van. It was a battered, dusty station wagon that looked like it had survived the Civil War. The bumper was held together with binding wire. On the side, a faded sticker read, "God is able logistics." Cynthia didn't look up. She thought it was another person coming to splash water on her. "Madam Cynthia." The voice was deep, calm, and surprisingly heavy. It didn't sound like the voice of a man driving a broken car. Cynthia looked up slowly. The driver's window rolled down with a squeak. She recognized him. It was the delivery man, the one who usually picked up food orders from the golden platter. The one Madame Beatrice used to shout at. "You dirty man, stand outside, you smell like onions," Beatrice would shout. He never said a word then. He would just bow his head, take the food, and leave. He looked the same today, wearing a faded orange reflective vest over a dirty t-shirt, a toothpick in his mouth, and a scruffy beard. "I don't have money for transport," Cynthia said, her voice hoarse. "Leave me alone." "I did not ask for money," the man said. He opened the passenger door from the inside. "Get in, before Miracle catches pneumonia." He knew her baby's name. Cynthia froze. Fear gripped her throat. Was this another trap? Did Beatrice send him to finish the job? How do you know my son's name? She whispered, clutching the baby tighter. The man took the toothpick out of his mouth. He looked at her, and for the first time, Cynthia saw his eyes. They were not the eyes of his servant. They were sharp, intelligent, and burning with a quiet fire. I know his name, the man said softly, because the day you were fired, you begged Madame Beatrice for his sake. I was standing by the door. I saw everything. Now get him. There was authority in his voice, the kind that makes his soldiers stand at attention. Cynthia's spirit, which was lying flat on the floor, stood up. She didn't know why, but she trusted him. She climbed into the car. Inside, the car was warm. It smelled of old leather and mint. The man handed her a thick, clean towel from the back seat. "Dry yourself," he said. He didn't start the car immediately. He just sat there, gripping the steering wheel, looking at the rain. "My name," he said, "is James." "Mr. James?" Cynthia stammered, wiping Miracle's face. "Thank you. But why are you helping me? Madame Beatrice said, she said I am cursed." James chuckled. It was a low, rumbling sound. "Beatrice calls many things by the wrong name. She calls poison aged beef. She calls greed business. And she calls a good woman cursed." He reached into the pocket of his dirty orange vest. Cynthia expected him to pull out a phone or a wallet. Instead, he pulled out a badge, a leather wallet with a golden crest. He flipped it open. Cynthia squinted in the dim light. She saw the Nigerian coat of arms. She saw the bold letters, NAFDAC. She saw the title, Director General. Cynthia gasped. "NAFDAC? You work for NAFDAC?" "I don't just work for them, Cynthia," James said, his voice changing. The Agbero accent vanished. He now spoke with the polished articulation of an Oxford graduate. "I run the agency. I am the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control." "Jesus!" Cynthia pressed her back against the door. "The DG, driving this car, wearing this vest?"
The antelope that wants to catch the lion must walk on silent paws, James said, putting the badge away. "We have received complaints about high-end restaurants in Lagos. People getting typhoid, kidney failure, mysterious food poisoning. But every time we send inspectors in uniform, these big madams bribe them or hide the rotten food before we arrive. So, I decided to come myself, disguised, invisible." He turned to face her fully. "I have been watching the Golden Platter for 3 months. I have been the delivery man standing in the corner. I have seen how she treats her staff. I have seen the expired oils. But I needed the smoking gun. I needed to see her knowingly serve poison." He tapped the dirty orange vest he was wearing. "Look closely at the zipper." Cynthia leaned in. The zipper on the vest looked normal, but at the very top, there was a tiny glass circle, smaller than a button. "A camera," James whispered. "High definition, audio and video." James pulled out a sleek tablet from under his seat, a stark contrast to the beat-up car. He tapped the screen. A video started playing. It was the kitchen of the Golden Platter. The angle was from the chest level of a delivery man standing by the door. The picture was crystal clear. On screen, Beatrice was screaming, "Wash it with bleach. Spice it until their tongues are on fire." On screen, Beatrice picked up the raw grey stick. The sound of the slap, pow, rang out through the car's speakers. Cynthia looked away, tears returning to her eyes. It was painful to watch, but it was also relieving. It wasn't in her head. It really happened. "I have it all," James said,
exposing the video, the bribery, the abuse, the health violations. I have enough evidence to bury her under the jail for 20 years. Then arrest her, Cynthia cried out, sudden energy returning to her veins. Go there now, arrest her. No, James shook his head slowly, not yet. Why? Cynthia asked, frustrated. She is destroying my name. She's destroying lives. Because, James said, his eyes narrowing. If I arrest her now, she will use her connections. She will claim the video is doctored. She will call the governor. She will pay a judge and be out by morning. She will say it was a misunderstanding. He looked at Cynthia. To kill a snake like Beatrice, you don't cut off the tail, you cut off the head. And you do it when the whole world is watching. So what do we do? Cynthia asked. Saturday, James said. This coming Saturday. The grand opening of the Golden Platter, Cynthia whispered. She had seen the billboards. Yes, the grand opening of the Golden Platter. She has invited everyone, the Commissioner of Health, the police IG, top Nollywood stars, even the international press. She wants to show the world that she has arrived.
James smiled, a dangerous cold smile. We will let her have her moment. We will let her climb to the very top of the mountain. We will let her serve that food to the VIPs. And just when she raises her glass to toast, we will pull the rug. He reached into the glove compartment and pulled out a small envelope. He handed it to Cynthia. Inside was 20,000 naira and a key. This key is for a guest house in Yaba. It is safe. Go there, buy milk for miracle, sleep, eat, recover your strength. And on Saturday, Cynthia asked. On Saturday, James said, I have a special role for you. I don't want you to come inside the restaurant. Beatrice will have security bounce you if you try to enter. Then where should I go? I want you to sit right in front of the restaurant, James said. Sit on the pavement near the entrance. Buy roasted corn from the street hawker. Just sit there and eat your corn. Eat corn? Cynthia looked confused. While she is celebrating, yes, you will be the warning, James said. You'll be the sign that nobody reads until it is too late. When the chaos starts, and it will start, you'll be the only one sitting in peace. James started the car. The engine groaned back to life. He drove her through the rain to the safe house, leaving her with a final word. Do not go on social media. Do not fight the blogger. Let them think you are defeated. Let Beatrice believe she has won. Silence is the best answer to a fool. For the next 4 days, Cynthia disappeared. Meanwhile, in Lekki, Madam Beatrice was flying high. She didn't know that the delivery man she kicked out yesterday was currently in a high-tech office in Abuja, uploading terabytes of footage to a secure server. She didn't know that the mad woman she mocked was sleeping in a clean bed, feeding her baby and praying for Saturday to come. Beatrice was busy. She was shouting at decorators. She was bribing the police to provide extra security. She was buying new followers on Instagram. She posted a picture of the restaurant interior, gold chandeliers, velvet chairs, marble tables, the golden platter, where royalty eats, haters can choke. Grand opening this Saturday. #blessed, #boss lady. She walked into the kitchen on Friday night. The new staff, terrified and underpaid, were busy washing meat. Make sure you use plenty of seasoning, Beatrice shouted, checking her reflection in a spoon. The governor is coming tomorrow. Everything must taste like heaven. One of the new chefs, a young boy, held up a piece of chicken. Ma, this one smells funny. Beatrice slapped it out of his hand. Fry it. When it is fried, the smell goes away. Do I have to teach you everything? Poverty mentality. She stormed out, feeling invincible.
She checked her phone. The weather forecast said it will rain on Saturday, but she didn't care. Let it rain. She had a roof of gold. But as the elders say, the rain that will beat the eagle has been gathering since the dry season. Saturday morning arrived at the golden platter. The clouds were heavy and dark. In the safe house, Cynthia tied her wrapper. She strapped Miracle to her back. She didn't put on makeup. She didn't wear heels. She wore her simple slippers and her dignity. She looked in the mirror. She remembered James's words. Be the warning. Let us go, my son, she whispered to the sleeping baby. Today we will watch God fight. Saturday evening arrived at the golden platter. The rain had stopped, leaving the air cool and the streets slick. The restaurant was glowing like a diamond dropped in the mud. Luxury cars, G-wagons, Range Rovers, Bentleys blocked the road. It looked like a car show for billionaires. Inside, paradise. The air smelt of expensive perfume and frying spices. The chandeliers were sparkling. A live band was playing soft high-life music. Waiters in gold-trimmed uniforms moved like dancers, carrying trays of champagne. The guests were the who is who of Lagos. The commissioner of health was there, laughing and rubbing his big belly. Top Nollywood actresses were there, their makeup sharp enough to cut yam. The biggest food bloggers and Instagram influencers were there, phones out, live streaming to millions. And in the middle of it all stood Madame Beatrice. She looked like a river goddess. She wore a lace dress that sparkled with real crystals. Her gele was tied so high it nearly touched the ceiling. She moved from table to table, laughing a fake laugh. Thank you for coming. Oh, it's just a small gathering. You know I only serve the best. But outside, the picture was different. Just by the entrance, sitting on a small plastic stool near the gutter, was Cynthia. She had both roasted corn and pear, ube, from a street hawker. She sat there quietly chewing her corn. She looked out of place, a speck of dust on a gold painting. The security guards wanted to chase her away, but a rough-looking man in a delivery vest, Mr. James, stood nearby, whispering something to them that made them back off in fear. So, they let her stay. Beatrice stepped outside to welcome the wife of a senator. As she bowed and scraped, flashing her white teeth, her eyes caught sight of Cynthia. Beatrice froze. Her smile turned to a sneer. She excused herself from the senator's wife and marched over to Cynthia. You! Beatrice hissed, looking around to make sure the VIPs were not listening close by. You, this cockroach! You have the guts to come here? Are you not ashamed? Cynthia didn't look up. She took a bite of her pear. I am talking to you, witch! Did you come to beg? Did you come to see what success looks like? Look at the cars. Look at the people. This is my destiny. And you are eating corn like a goat in the streets. Cynthia finally looked up. Her eyes were calm. Madam, I came to watch. Watch what? Beatrice laughed. Watch me shine? Good. Watch well. Maybe if you pray hard enough, in your next life, you will be my housemaid. She turned around to the security guard. After the senator's wife enters, throw this rag into the gutter where she belongs. Beatrice spun around, her lace sweeping the floor, and walked back into the glory of her restaurant. She grabbed the microphone. Distinguished guests, she announced, her voice booming over the speakers. The moment you have been waiting for, the golden platter special meat is served. Eat, drink, and be merry. Waiters marched out with silver platters. The smell of heavy spices, curry, thyme, garlic, filled the room. It was strong, too strong, but the guests were hungry.
The guests began to eat. So spicy, one influencer shouted into her phone. You guys need to come here. The taste is unique. The commissioner was chewing a large piece of steak, grease running down his chin. Beatrice, this meat is tender, oh. It melts in the mouth. Beatrice stood on the small stage, basking in the praise. She raised a glass of champagne. To the golden platter, long life and prosperity. Amen, the crowd shouted, mouths full of meat. Suddenly, the music stopped. Skwa! A loud screeching noise came from the speakers. The guests covered their ears. The giant LED screens behind Beatrice, which were showing a slideshow of her face, flickered. They went black. Then a video appeared. It was shaky at first, filmed from a chest pocket. Then it stabilized. It was the kitchen, their kitchen. Beatrice's voice, clear and sharp, boomed through the hall speakers. Wash it with bleach. Vinegar will kill the smell. Spice it until their tongues are on fire. The chewing stopped. Forks froze in mid-air. The commissioner's jaw dropped. On the screen, the video zoomed in. Beatrice was holding a piece of green, slimy meat. You common pauper, do you think you have standards? The sound of the meat slapping Cynthia's face echoed like a gunshot. Beatrice dropped her champagne glass. It shattered. Krish! Turn it off, she screamed at the DJ. Turn it off. It is fake. It is AI. It is my enemies.
But the video continued. It showed the staff washing the rotten meat in a bucket of soapy water. It showed rats scurrying over the sacks of onions. It showed Beatrice paying a health inspector, laughing as he said, "Let them eat rubbish. They are just wallets with legs." The silence in the hall was heavy, heavy like a coffin. Then the realization hit. The commissioner looked at the half-eaten steak on his fork. He looked at the video of the green meat. He looked at his stomach. "Bleach?" he whispered. "Bleh!" The influencer who was live streaming suddenly bent over and vomited all over her designer bag. That was the signal. Chaos broke loose. "Poison! She fed us poison!" the senator's wife screamed, clutching her throat. Men in expensive agbada were running to the bathroom. Women were gagging. Tables were overturned. The smell of expensive perfume was replaced by the smell of fear and vomit. "It is a lie!" Beatrice was screaming on stage, grabbing the microphone, looking like a mad woman. "It is deep fake. I am the victim here. Who did this?" The double doors of the restaurant burst open. The room went quiet, except for the sound of retching guests. Mr. James walked in. He was no longer wearing the dirty delivery vest. He was wearing a sharp black suit. He walked with the stride of a giant. Behind him were 6 armed mobile policemen and a squad of NAFDAC officers in red jackets. Beatrice's eyes bulged. "You, the delivery man?" James walked up to the stage. He didn't need a microphone. His voice carried authority. "I am not the delivery man, Mrs. Beatrice," he said, holding up his badge. "I am the Director General of NAFDAC, and this," he pointed at the chaos, "is a crime scene." The guests gasped. The commissioner wiped his mouth and tried to hide behind a pillar. "You are under arrest," James announced, "for endangerment of public health, bribery, and the distribution of hazardous food substances."
"You cannot arrest me," Beatrice shrieked. "Do you know who I am? I know the governor. I will call him." James smiled. He pointed to the screen. The video had changed. It was now showing a live feed from the governor's office. A press release. "Governor disowns Bolden Platter owner. Orders immediate shutdown." "Your friends have abandoned you, Beatrice," James said coldly. "Officers, take her." The policemen marched onto the stage. Beatrice fought them. Her gele fell off.
Her wig shifted. She kicked and screamed, "My restaurant, my money! It is that witch Cynthia. She planned this." As they dragged her out in handcuffs, the influencers, who were now recovering, pointed their phones at her. Flashlights popped. The shame was being broadcast live to the world. They dragged her through the main door, out into the cool evening air. And there, sitting on her plastic stool, was Cynthia. She had finished her corn. She was wiping her hands with a tissue. Beatrice, disheveled, handcuffed and crying, saw her. The arrogance was gone. The madness was gone. Now only fear remained. The police paused for a second near Cynthia. "Cynthia," Beatrice cried out, desperation in her voice. "Cynthia, please, tell them it was a mistake. I will pay you. I will give you double your salary, please." Cynthia stood up slowly. She adjusted her baby on her back. She looked at the woman who had slapped her, jailed her, and tried to ruin her life. The cameras were flashing. The crowd was watching. The world was waiting for Cynthia to curse her. Instead, Cynthia reached into her nylon bag. She pulled out the last piece of roasted corn. "Madam," Cynthia said softly, her voice carrying in the silence, "you look hungry. Do you want a bite? It is fresh, no bleach." Beatrice burst into fresh tears, wailing as the police shoved her into the back of the van. Siren wheels, people. James walked out and stood beside Cynthia. He took a yellow tape marked sealed and slapped it across the golden doors of the restaurant. He turned to the crowd of sick, angry VIPs. "This building is seized. The owner is going to jail. But," he turned to Cynthia, "Lagos needs good food, clean food, honest food." He looked at the wealthy investor, the owner of the building, who was standing there shaking his head in disgust at Beatrice. "Sir," James said to the landlord, "you have a vacant building, and here," he put a hand on Cynthia, "is the best chef in Lagos. What do you say?" The landlord looked at Cynthia. He looked at the integrity in her face. "1 year rent-free," the landlord declared, "if she agrees to clean up this mess and cook real food." Cynthia looked at the building. Then she looked at her baby. She smiled. "I will call it," she said, "the honest pot." "Wonder shall never end," a bystander whispered. And that, my people, is how the woman who ate corn outside became the owner of the gold inside. See, when a big tree falls, the birds that used to perch on it will fly away. But when a new flower blooms, even the bees from the next village will come to visit. As the police van drove Madame Beatrice away to the station, the atmosphere changed. The same people who were holding their noses when Cynthia was eating corn suddenly remembered that they knew her from somewhere. The hotel manager, the one who threw her out into the rain because of the blog post, pushed his way through the crowd. He looked like a wet chicken. "Madam Cynthia," he stammered, sweating in the cool air. I just realized. It was a misunderstanding. Please, come back to the hotel. We will make you executive chef. We will pay you double." Cynthia looked at him. She didn't shout. She didn't curse. She just smiled a smile that did not reach her eyes. "Sir," she said gently, "the stone that the builder rejected has become the cornerstone. But this cornerstone does not fit in your building anymore. Go and hire the blogger who posted my picture." The usher from the church, the one who walked her out, was standing nearby holding his Bible. He tried to wave, but shame caught his hand halfway. He turned and walked away, looking at his shoes. One by one, they came with their "sorry ma," and we didn't know. But Cynthia had no time for apologies that only came after victory. She had a kitchen to clean. If you go to Lekki Phase 1 today, you will not see the golden platter. That name has been washed away by the rain. Instead, you will see a bright sign, painted in warm orange and green, "The Honest Pot."
The queue outside is longer than the queue for a visa at the embassy. People line up from 6 a.m. Why? Because they know that inside that kitchen, there are no secrets. The kitchen is now an open kitchen. It has glass walls. You can see the meats being washed with clean water. You can see the fresh peppers. You can see the staff singing while they cook, wearing crisp white uniforms that smell of soap, not bleach. And there, in the middle of it all, is Cynthia. She is no longer wearing the faded wrapper. She's wearing a custom-made chef's jacket with her name embroidered in gold thread, Chef Cynthia. She has added a little weight, the good kind, the kind that shows peace of mind. Her skin is glowing like polished mahogany. Little Miracle is now a chubby 1-year-old, crawling around a special playpen in the corner of the office, playing with a toy cooking set. Mr. James still comes around. He doesn't wear the dirty delivery vest anymore. He comes in his suit, sometimes with his wife, and they pay full price for their meal. He and Cynthia are not just friends. They are partners in a foundation that feeds widows every Sunday. One Tuesday afternoon, Cynthia was checking the accounts. The numbers were good. She had bought her own car, a small, reliable Toyota. She had rented a decent 3-bedroom flat. She had paid her tithe. She had sent money to her mother in the village. She looked out the window at the rain falling softly on the streets of Lagos. It was the same rain that beat her 6 months ago. But today, the rain looked like showers of blessing.
Aunt Madame Beatrice? As we speak, she is in the Kirikiri Female Correctional Center, serving a 10-year sentence for endangerment of public health and attempted manslaughter. The woman who used to throw away food because it wasn't plated correctly now fights over a cup of watery beans with her cellmates. They say she has become the cook for the prisoners. But there is no Maggi, no curry, and definitely no bleach. She cooks in silence, and every time she stirs the pot, she remembers the woman she called a pauper. So, my people, what have we learnt? Lesson 1. Don't judge a book by its ragged cover. Beatrice thought Cynthia was nobody because she had no money. She didn't know that dignity is not bought in the market. Be careful who you step on while you are climbing up, because you might meet them on your way down. Lesson 2. Wickedness has an expiry date. You can lie to the world, you can bribe the police, you can pay bloggers, but you cannot bribe God. When your cup is full, it will overflow. The evil you cook for others, you will eventually eat it yourself. Lesson 3. Silence is a weapon. When they lied against Cynthia, she didn't go to Facebook to shout. She didn't fight in the mud. She sat down, ate her corn, and let God fight. Sometimes, the best answer to a fool is a closed mouth and an open eye.
Lesson 4. Integrity pays. It was hard for Cynthia to say no to the rotten meat. She lost her job. She suffered. But because she refused to poison others, she saved her future. A good name is better than silver and gold. My people, this world is full of Madame Beatrices, but it also has Cynthias. If you believe that truth will always prevail over lies, if you believe that the patient dog will eat the fattest bone, do not keep this story to yourself. Share this story with your friends, your enemies, and even your village people. Tell them that the wind has blown, and we have seen the fowls romp. The elders say that a lie is like a mansion built with saliva. The morning dew is enough to make it collapse. But the truth is a palm tree. It may take time to grow, it may look slow, but when the storm comes, it only dances. It does not break. Be like the palm tree. Do not envy the speed of the wicked, for their destination is destruction. Instead, water your own soil with patience and integrity, for the harvest of an honest man is sure, even if it comes late. If this story added small oil to your lamp of wisdom, do not eat it alone. Press that subscribe button now. It is free. They don't charge NEPA bill for it.
Share this video with your friends, your family. Until the next tale, remain blessed.